Wait, hold on. Okay, turn this on. All right, now I can hear you. How you doing, Forbes?
I'm doing all right. How are you, Matt?
Yeah, sorry for the lateness. I had a technical difficulty moment right there.
That's quite all right. It's quite all right. I'm studying online at the moment. One of the joys of COVID. So I was just working away waiting for you.
It's all good. How you still holding up okay through the pandemic?
Man, it's weird. I mean, I guess I'm holding up fine. But I think like everyone else, this has gone on for so long that it's kind of hard to know what fine means anymore. I mean, I had a conflict at, at at school, and everybody, including myself, was behaving in ways that I wouldn't normally expect. And I went
Right.
to my advisor, and I'm like, I don't know what is going on here. I mean, this is my position, this is their position, this is the professor's position. None of it makes any sense. And she said, Forbes, it's COVID. I said, what? She said, we're finding this all across. This woman is the advisor to the advisors. I mean, she looks out over about 100,000 students. She's like, we're finding it in all of our institutions under our umbrella. People are just going wacko. He said, just, if you can get through it, get through it. If you can't get through it, drop the course. I thought, man, that is just kind of such a blanket statement for what everybody's going through right now. We just, if you can get through it, you get through it. If you can't, you just tuck your head between your legs and hold on for the ride. Because what are you going to do? You know what I mean? Options are limited. You either keep on going or you stop, but you're not going backwards.
Right.
It's you're on the ride. You're on the roller coaster ride. You're not getting off.
Yeah. I've heard it. I've heard it's been one interesting journey for a lot of people as far as school and jobs. I think I told you the last time we talked. In my job, a lot of my workers, they got laid off, and slowly but surely they all started coming back. And yeah, I've heard with school is concerned, it's just been
Yeah.
it's been something. Yeah.
It's funny. I was at a really expensive school, and
Hmm.
that really expensive school, when I went there, wouldn't accept any of the credits that I'd taken online because they don't respect online. Now that really
Right.
expensive school has gone entirely online. And now I'm like, why am I supposed to pay for really expensive school to teach me online, but I'm not going to get any of the benefits of that really expensive school? And you're kind of caught now, aren't you? If I go take them online, you can't use that we don't respect online anymore. So you know what? Give me a call when you're reopened. In the meantime, I'm going to go spend $1,000 a semester online and not $75,000 a semester at your silly school. Good luck to you. Let me know. It's
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It is what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Doing fine.
You
I'm
are.
doing fine. My family's healthy. We have lost some family and friends to it. But so far, we're all healthy. Bank hasn't foreclosed on my home. My business is still operating. My customers are coming back. We're fine. We'll survive. We'll survive. And I've had a great 4 months of through. How many months are we into this? March, April, May, June, July. Holy crap! March, April, May, June, July. 5 months. Had a great 5 months. I mean, my daughter came back from college. It's probably the last time that I'll have 5 months with her. My
Right.
son is 14. He was starting to grow wings and leave the nest, and I got to spend 5 months with him. So it's probably the last time that I'll have my children in the home for this length of time. That's been great. That's been a gift. I
Yeah.
try to focus on that. How about you? How you been holding up with it?
I'm still working. Uh, the only thing I think has changed recently since the last time we talked, I was going to tell you, my birthday is Friday, this coming
Happy
Friday.
birthday! That's right. I
I'm
didn't forget. I was going to plug it in there somewhere.
Thank you. But everything is still going okay. I'm still working. My mother, who is a home care provider, she's still working too. So we just doing what we gotta do through it all.
Right. Good.
Um, you got a lot of fans who are watching today. Recently I've been joining a lot of Facebook channels with soap operas, and there was a One Life to Live channel that I recently joined, and a lot of fans were happy to know that I'm talking with you today.
Oh, right on, right on. If they're watching, big shout out. That's great. That's great. That's cool.
You got
They
one.
were amazing. That was probably a really amazing experience. The way the audience reacted to that character was something I'm really grateful to have had the opportunity to experience as an actor. There's so many actors who plug away and work and they get to enjoy work as an actor, but don't ever get the opportunity to experience that kind of reaction. That was really nice. That was really special. That was something I'll carry with me. Their support or whatever, soaps have their language about fans and all that. I don't like to use that language, but it was nice to get that kind of support. That was neat. That was neat. Appreciation, to have it appreciated. That was great.
Yeah, I remember the last time we talked. I mentioned that when you came on the show in 2005, because that was around the time I was taping One Life to Live, all the shows. They was doing the whole Just Test storyline, and she was with Antonio. So the whole new guy comes on. I'm like, well, who the heck is Nash Brennan? Who is this business guy? And I was not in the Nash a lot because I was Antonio and Jessica's fan, but you grew on me. Nash stuck around, and he became a like character, and I liked him. And unfortunately, you had to go across the skylight right when fans was like,
yeah, Nash had to take a fall. That was one part of that. Camar de los Reyes, who played Antonio, and Bree and I had Bree Williamson, who played Jess. We had a really good on-set relationship, and we were careful to understand the importance of keeping keeping both sides of that going. There couldn't. We realized early on that as soon as somebody won between Antonio or Nash, the storyline would be dead, right? It's the analogy I always use is Romeo and Juliet. Once they're together, it's over, right? It's keeping that alive. You see it in soaps. As soon as two, a love interest consummate and get married or whatever, that's it. Storyline's over. They either retire that storyline to the background or they wait 3 months and break them up. You know what I mean? No one wants to see live happily ever after. Live happily ever after is with the sunset behind as the credits roll. You don't want the credits roll. You want to keep the story alive. So we worked really consciously and deliberately to make sure that the pendulum kept swinging. I never wanted everybody who watched that show to love Nash. I never wanted everybody to be convinced that he was the right choice.
Right.
I think it was my sense that Kamar was doing the same thing. That we were trying to keep that keep that alive. I think that was part of what kept that story going for so long. That was a pretty long story. We managed to run that for a good run. It was good fun.
Yeah, it was. It was. I got a surprise for you, Forbes.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna turn my phone around, and I got something to show you here. Here we go. It's a clip of you as Nash. Unfortunately, it was your last day, unfortunately, but here's a clip.
I don't think I ever saw my last day. Let's see this.
Can you see?
I can see.
You saved my wife's life. And I thought, maybe you had changed. And now I've lost my vineyard. You dirty little tramp. You had sex her out of it, okay? Now your sister has lost her home because of you. Your sister has lost her home.
Why?
Oh man, I never saw that. I never saw that scene. Ah, good time.
Now we talked about this, and I got a fan on here who's asking about it. What was your reaction though when you left the show, or when Nash was going to be killed off? What was your reaction about that whole thing? You've been on there for 3 years at this point.
Yeah, it was. I was very confused, to be honest. I was going through a lot at the time, and it was weird. I found out because I went into the producer's office actually to pitch him a storyline that would get me off the show. I wanted off. I didn't want off because I didn't appreciate the show and I didn't like the show. I needed a break, and I saw where the writing was going, and I didn't like it. And I wanted them to do it in a way that was fun and cool, but I needed a break for personal reasons. And he said, "Look, you don't need to pitch me on this. I had this crazy idea that." Soapland. What if the last time I worked for ABC, I played Scott Chandler on All My Children, and Scott Chandler went up to the attic and never came back, or something. Went up to school and never came back. I was like, wouldn't it be cool if Nash actually was Scott, and you could just bounce me, across town, and I could go work on All My Children for 6 months or whatever, and then come back here when you got something for me. And he was like, actually, we're gonna kill Nash. And then I was really bummed out. I was really upset. I was upset to be leaving the show. I really enjoyed playing Nash, but I was also upset because I had a feeling like I probably wouldn't be acting again. That reality set in really quickly. I realized it was probably my last show. And I was right. I did a couple small parts after, but basically I was done. I needed to step away for a while. And I did step away for a while, and at a certain point, I decided I wanted to come back, but it had been too long. I've been out of the business for a long, long time, and doors closed behind you in that business.
Right. Yeah, Nash was he was an interesting character. Like I said, he did grow on me. It was like he was kind of, I guess you could say he was a business character, like a businessman, and he knew his roles. I mean, the only thing they didn't do on the show that I thought they would have done if he stuck around was, other than bringing Claudia, your ex-wife, they didn't really go into your past as far as like your parents or a sister or brother. And I thought maybe, because one like to live chase characters all the time. People came and went all the time on it, and I saw you sticking around, and then next thing I know, boom, you over this guy like come on, man, y'all killing my boy off here, man. Come on, man.
Yeah, I at the time I thought it might have been politics. I mean, it generated a lot of storyline, and in that sense, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, I was going through a really tough patch, and I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they just decided it was time to get rid of me. But I was going through a really, really tough patch. I think we talked about this last time. I was sobering up. And that was a tough experience. It was tough to get to the point that I needed to sober up, and then it was tough to sober up on camera in front of 3.5 million people. Well, I don't know if you remember, but there's a storyline that Nash was turning into an alcoholic. They started that after I told the producer that I was going to quit drinking. Oh, that's interesting. We could work that in. And I'm like, dude, please don't have me pretending to be drunk while trying to pretend to not want to be drunk. That just sucks. I mean, my head just kind of went and exploded. It was
you froze there. Whoop! Wait a minute. Let me see.
You having some technical?
There we go. Yeah, you froze there a bit. I didn't see you there. Hold up. All right. Okay. All right. So you were telling a story about they was gonna write Nash in as an alcoholic, even though you had just stopped
Yeah,
drinking.
yeah, and that was tough. I mean, I don't think I behaved myself very well in that last period on the show.
Mm-hmm.
I very much regret some of the things I said and did. It was a tough time. So I don't know. Maybe they wrote me out because they pretty much told the story. There wasn't a lot left for them to do. I mean, once they, like we were saying with Romeo and Juliet, once they kiss, it's over. Once that whole Jess Test thing ended and it was now Jessica, then the story was done. They had to either break us up or put us in the background, and they're not going to put Jessica Buchanan, who was kind of the ingenue of the show.
Right.
She's the lead of the show. They're not going to put her into the background, so they have to kill her. That makes sense to me. But it wouldn't be surprising to me if someone decided they'd had enough of me.
Right.
I was naughty.
I used to have this magazine here. Did you ever see this in the store? This is a ABC magazine with all three of y'all in the front.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. It was.
I used to have that magazine back then when it first came out, and then when I moved, I had to, throw a lot of that away. So I got very little magazines left from that time.
Yeah. I remember the first time I realized it was clicking. I'd had some taste of it in the past. I remember when I was playing. I was playing a Marvel character, whatever. So I was like an X-Man. So I was a superhero on TV, and I was out shopping for Christmas presents at Toys R Us one year, and I'm standing in line like everybody else. I'm like, oh my god, present 15 of 37 that I got to get in the next 2 hours is a 40-minute lineup. I kind of feel this thing behind me. I look behind me, and there's this little kid, this little boy. He's like 5 years old, and he's looking at me just like. It's like a cartoon, just staring at me. I'm like, what's going on? I look at his mother, goes, he watches your show. I was like, oh wow, all right. So I had a taste of it, but I mean, the soap was crazy. Yeah, I've been I just hit air, and I was walking to set one morning, and New York City, the show shot in New York City. There's cops on every street corner, right, during rush hour. And there's this black woman, cop directing the traffic a couple blocks in the studio. And I'm thinking about my lines and what I got to do today. I'm in my own world, and I'm crossing the street. And I get halfway across, and I hear her just shouting at me, "What you think y'all doing? You can't be acting like that." I mean, she's just going off at me. And I put my hands up. I'm like, don't shoot me, right? And started laughing. And I realized she's shouting at the character. A cop in New York City is shouting at my character. This is awesome. And that was kind of the first moment. And it just exploded. I mean, it was a really cool experience. It was really cool. There's a lot of those little magazine things and that kind of stuff. It was neat. I appreciated it a lot.
Yeah. Hey, Forbes marked for president of the United States. You got your nomination.
Yeah, sure. Couldn't do worse.
We talked about this briefly before, but we got another. My fan was asking. Talk about your experience on All My Children, Scott.
Oh, that was great. But that was mixed too, but for another reason. I mean, when you start acting as an actor, you typically, as soon as you can, you take a few classes and you get your chops, and you go out and quickly audition for any of the soaps, because the soaps are always looking for new talent. They got a history, right. If you get one, it's awesome, because you get to skip that whole starving artist bit that all my other actor friends endured for years. You know, a buddy of mine who I started acting with, he's just started to hit now. You know, he's been at it for 30 years and living on people's sofas and going to classes and plugging away, and he's just started working steadily in the last year or two. As if you get a hit in a soap, you get a real kickstart. The downside is you still don't know what you're doing. You know, you don't go through that whole doing a one-liner here, and then you get 5 lines over there, and then maybe you get, you know, a guest starring role on NYPD or some, you know, whatever. You don't go through all of that. Your first day is, okay, here's a 75-page script, 57 pages are you're shooting on Tuesday, ready, go. Like, you know, your deer caught in the headlights. You learn how to do what is really a profession and a craft. I mean, it's there's a lot to acting that people who don't act don't necessarily get. You have to learn that in front of a really hyper judgmental audience, because soap audiences are notoriously judgmental. You go through your learning curve publicly, and that was tough. That was tough. The upside was that I had the incredible fortune of being paired up with David Canary and what is her name? Wonderful woman who played Marion. Oh, it's terrible that I can't remember her name.
Jennifer Basley.
Jennifer Bassey. Those two were just spectacular. I mean, every day I had the chance to sit down with David Canary, and you know, we'd run our lines and make sure we had them memorized, and then he would just mentor me. You know, I'd get 45 minutes with David Canary, one-on-oneing me. There's a lot of young actors who would pay some really good money to have the opportunity to spend 45 minutes with David Canary, never mind 45 minutes with David Canary every day, and then get to go up on set and perform not as his student, but as his peer. That was extraordinary. He was such a gentleman, such a gentleman. I was so fortunate to have him there during that really tough time. It was embarrassing because I really wanted to do a good job, and I wasn't proud of the work that I was doing. And then, you know, magazines would come out that would confirm my fear that I sucked, you know. But I was lucky to have David Canary to, you know, pat me on the back and say, "Don't worry, son. You know, let's try it again tomorrow." I remember the day he gave me a compliment that seemed sincere. It was towards the end, and that meant a lot to me. It gave me a big boost of confidence as I went into my next job.
Was that interesting though? I mean, you working with the man who was on Bonanza, as Candy, and you know, it's so many.
It was so weird. Like, when I grew up, I didn't have a TV. I had these hippie parents. I wasn't allowed any soda. I wasn't allowed any candy, chocolate bars, nothing like that. I had no TV in my house. The only time I got to watch TV was when I went to my grandparents' place on the weekend. And, you know, Bonanza was on every morning on like repeat. Catch like 3 Bonanzas on Channel 3. You know, click, 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 click. You have 3 or 5, right? You know, I'd watch like 3 Bonanzas every Sunday. So pretty much the only TV I'd seen was freaking David Canary. And my first job as an actor, I'm working with him. That was cool. That was cool. But I mean, you lose that really quickly. That's really neat on your first day. Your first day, you work with someone who you're a fan of or whatever. It's a little awkward and weird, and you're kind of, you know, blushing and giggling and stupid. By the time you get, you know, 3 days in, that's past. You don't see them as the character anymore. Now you know the person, and we're all people once we get to know each other. You get past that. But what was wonderful wasn't so much that I got to work with David Canary, the man. It was that I got to work with David Canary, the man. That was a wonderful experience because he really was a special person. He was an important person in my life. He was a good guy, dignified man.
Yeah, and you know, I'm going to do it to you again. I got a clip of you. I got a clip of you on All My Children. You worked with this is a scene with you and Ryan Cameron Matheson.
Cameron Madison.
Right.
Iron Man. All right, glasses on again.
I'll do your laundry. I'll pick up your mail, but I do not date man-eaters. I was raised by one. So, especially when I'm after having the time of my life. I'm gonna go for a late night jog. I'm gonna order pizza.
Look at that skin. Look at all the hair.
I should go back again. You know what? Quit stalling. Here, take this.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I remember that young. God.
You had to been like 18 or 19 at that time, right?
No, I was. Thank you. No, I was. Gosh, I had my daughter. It was 20. I was about 28 or 28. 28.
Really?
Yeah.
You look super young on there, man. That's why I figured, you still look young today. You still look like you got to be in your late 20s, early 30s, man. You still look good, man.
Thank you. I'm hoping that I'm banking on that continuing. I've got an 18-year-old daughter. My life insurance policy is her education fund. I'm going back to school for my third profession. I'm going to have to professionally work until I'm about 78, I figure. Sometime around 80, retirement might be an option if I play my cards right.
Right.
Hopefully at 80, I'll just look 65.
Well, at 80, if you keep your long hair like that, all you got to do is just shape it right, and you're going to be another David Canary. And then,
I could that would be a dream, actually. That's something to aspire towards.
Yeah.
Baby canary would be all right. Be all right.
I got a fan here who's asking. I know we talked about this briefly last time. Did you have any interest to go on General Hospital or do any other soaps that's still on the air today?
Yeah. Do I have any interest? The honest answer to that is yes. Is it an option? I don't know. First of all, it's not an option because it hasn't been offered. I keep seeing it coming up in soap magazines. People forward it to me. Hey, heard you're going back to acting. And I'm like, really? Usually it's employees. I've got a business now with 12 employees, and they'll hear that I'm going back to TV, and they'll all come like, are we losing our job? Are we fired? Are you closing shop? What's going on? I actually had one of my suppliers called me up once and was like, hey, man, I heard you're going back to TV. Like, are you going to keep buying from me? I was like, yeah, I did start that rumor. But,
Get started.
I consider the option. Given the lifestyle choices, I might consider the option.
Right.
But it would be weird. I mean, I don't want to say no because I wouldn't want to cut off any opportunities that might be presented to me. But it would be very difficult. I've been out of it for a long time now.
Right.
I have a business and people who rely on me. I'm back to school, pursuing. I'm in a pre-med program. God, it's like I'm in year 3 for the 5th time at college. It's crazy. I've now attended. I worked it out there. I've now attended 5 different universities and still don't have an undergraduate degree. But I'm back to school for hoping to become a doctor next. It would be weird to go back. It would be like, at 50 years old, which I'm not, but at 50 years old, having your high school coach call you and ask if you want to go back and play defensive back. You're like, what? Yeah, sure. That was a lot of fun 40 years ago. I miss acting very much.
Mm-hmm.
I miss the actual process of acting, the actual job, the time from when I stepped onto the stage.
Right.
The time in front of the cameras was wonderful. It was undoubtedly, of all of the many things I've had the opportunity to do in my life, being on stage or in front of cameras is where I felt most comfortable.
Right.
I felt like I was doing something useful. I was doing something I was good at. I felt proud of what I was doing. I really, really enjoyed the process. I really liked who I was working with, especially the crews. The crews were so much fun.
Right.
I respected directors, the whole thing. I really liked. But there are elements of the business that are very, very tough for a mature person to do. It's really kind of a young person's activity. It's one thing for me to choose to accept that kind of instability, but to put that on my wife and to put that on my kids, that's another deal. You know, my kids are teenagers. If I book a job in California, I live in New York. Am I going to pick them all up and drag their ticked off asses to Los Angeles? Or am I going to leave them behind and abandon them? You know, I know it's acceptable for a father to abandon his children and family to go somewhere for work. How sexist? It wouldn't be acceptable for my wife. Imagine if my wife got a job in California and abandoned the children with their daddy for 3 years. People would be like, what kind of a mother is that?
Yeah, that wouldn't be cool. No.
Maybe I'm a little postmodern, but what kind of a dad would I be too?
Right.
I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. When I was 28 and I had a 3-month-old baby, that was great. That was an awesome gig. Right. As a 47-year-old with 3 kids and 12 employees who rely on me and customers I supply and a life and volunteer stuff that I do, I don't know. I don't know if I'm not up to it. And the opportunity hasn't presented itself, so it's kind of academic.
Right.
But yeah, I'd love to, you know what I'd love? You know what would be the awesomest? Would be to have like 1 day a week or 2 days every 2 weeks, to have like this fun character that comes into the show, has a great day, and then goes away for a few weeks. That I would do for free. I message to Frank, if you want me to come do some crazy Forbes crap on your show, I will come for scale if you can work it into like 2 days a month. I'll do it for free. That would be absolutely sublime. That'd be the best. That'd be just absolutely kick-ass. I'd like that.
Yeah, I gotta remind Frank of that. Well, whenever they start shooting again, cause I know a lot of shows like GH ain't shooting because of the pandemic.
Well,
so yeah,
COVID.
Huh?
They haven't moved to Vancouver yet. I heard Vancouver's opened up again.
Yeah, no, they I haven't heard. Well, I haven't heard that one. No. I know all the shows talked about filming again, and then a lot of them halted because the pandemic is still going on. So
I've outed myself. That's how out of touch I am. I didn't even know that they weren't shooting anymore. That's how out of the cycle. I'm a logger now, dude. I'm in loggerware. I literally just came off of a firewood processor to come in here and speak to you. I'm a what's the socially acceptable? We're not allowed to call these any of the words that we call these tops anymore. What do we call these? I'm in a gilet, as the Italians call it. I'm in a sweat box. I just jumped out of my greasy sweat box and desperately tried to scrub the grease off my arms and shoulders to come in here and look half decent, presentable for you. I'm a working man now. I'm a boss man.
There you go. So
I have no idea what them Hollywoodites do in their glorious mansions out there in the West Coast, all easy and sunshine out there in it. Well, it ain't like that up here in upstate New York. Let me tell you.
You need your own show, dude. You need your own show, dude. You funny. You do.
Yeah, spread the word. Spread the word. Forbes needs his own show named after me. That way that you can't be fired. That was explained to me once. The only way to be sure that you can't be fired is to get a show named after you.
There you go.
Then that's it. You own it. You own it. You can't fire Martha Stewart for Martha Stewart.
So now that we're cool, I can get some discount on some wood, right? I can come if I come to New York.
Burns long, burns hot, baby. Best wood in the East Coast.
Oh man. So you something else. You know, Forbes, I gotta tell you, on the for real side, I gotta thank you for. I'm not closing this out just yet. I'm just saying I gotta thank you for doing this because I've had a lot of fun talking with a lot of actors who was on TV. I've been doing it live since the last time we talked, and it's been fun. Ironically, 2 things. One, the day I joined the One at the Little group on Facebook, and I announced I was interviewing you, somebody had literally just put a picture of you in your hospital bed after you fell with the blood on your face. I was like, well, ain't that an interesting coincidence?
Yeah, it's some kind of an anniversary. So I was told. I got a copy. I'm on Facebook too.
Mm-hmm.
And someone, I think Debbie Bartolino. It's cool, you know. I actually some of those fans became friends, like real friends. It's interesting. Debbie's one of them. Debbie sent me a copy of that with this "Happy Anniversary, You Died" picture.
Yeah.
It's weird to be celebrating your death while alive.
And the other thing too is, you know, like I was saying, I've been thankful to have talked with all you guys because everybody has been really nice, really been open, talking about their time working in daytime. I unfortunately had to deal with one person who will be named nameless, but who unfortunately has not been so nice. You know, we had an interview a month ago, and you know, he just like you, he hasn't been acting in a long time, and I did not have a pleasant experience with him at all, and I'm debating about doing this interview with him. But you know, I do thank you for, you know, taking the time to do this. You know,
actors are an extreme group. You don't get onto television by taking the middle road personality wise. You know, that was one of the tough aspects of acting. The social dynamics between actors is tough. Actors are a tough bunch of people, and I'm no freaking angel. I think I made that clear at the beginning. If any of my co-workers from back then, I'm sorry, I was wrong. We're not an easy bunch. We're not an easy bunch, actors. We're not easy with each other. We're not easy with others, and it's selective that way. If we're easy, we don't tend to get the job.
right?
You know, it's a weird deal. You know, try to find a reasonably sane, famous person, and you'll have found the exception, not the rule. Matthew Broderick seems like a normal guy, and I've always wanted to meet him because he's so irregular that I think it's fake. But I really want to be proven wrong. I want to meet Matthew Broderick and find out if he's actually an asshole, or is he really the boy next door? Because it can't be true. You can't be that nice and make and it's just, come on. Who else is like that? Even his wife, she's crazy. She's bat crazy in a wonderful way. Super sexy crazy. What's her name? Whatever. Sex in the City. It's not how you get success in acting. You know, you don't get crazy, except it encourages it. You know, the whole industry makes you crazy. It encourages crazy. It chooses crazy. Actors are crazy. If you're going to interview them, you're gonna get some extremes. Go on.
Yeah.
I don't know if I knew I was in the right place or the wrong place, but I'll never forget it. When I got on all my children, the woman who's now my wife was pregnant at the time. I was new to the States. I had no health insurance. I didn't know anything about health insurance. I come from Canada. Having health insurance is like having water in your tap. You just take it for granted. I turn the tap, water comes out. And yeah, I get a bill, but the bill's like $10. You don't think about water. Water's free. It's why we live in countries. So our government will give us water and give us health insurance and a fire department and police. It's like, you know, it's the basic shit. My wife is from Europe, same thing. Came here, no idea how stuff works. My wife gets pregnant. Take her, gotta find a doctor. When you're 28, you don't even really have a doctor. Find a doctor, go to the doctor. Doctor asks for health insurance. I'm like, health insurance? Yeah, I don't have that. What is that? Realized I needed health insurance. Gotta get it quick. I got really lucky. I get on this show. I find out that I'm going to qualify for health insurance. I qualify for the health insurance. Woohoo, big day. The book comes. You know that health insurance book that you get? Thank you, Obama. He cut it down to like a pamphlet. But it used to be a book like that you got. It told you like every condition, who you had to call, what you had to do, which was going to be covered. I get the book from the Actors Union of my health insurance. And it's like 1.5 inches thick. I open it up. And there's like major medical. Major medical is like that. It's like 20 pages.
Right.
And then there's like still 1.5 inches of drug addiction and psychological issues for performers. I'm like, oh no, what am I doing? What am I stepped into? here. Like, what does that tell you?
Right.
Actor.
There you go.
Chugging away on my water here.
Right. Remember the last time we talked and I said you looked a little bit like Sean Hunter from Boy Meets World, writer?
Yeah, I have no idea who that is.
Yeah, I got a picture on right here. I mentioned that you slightly look like him a little bit. This is him right here.
Glasses back on. I look like that guy?
like a smudge. Well, I guess if you were to see him acting on the show and to see you acting at the time, I felt like
playing with your Facebook filters. Like, yeah, maybe if you put like, the Mickey Mouse eyes on both of us, and the hat and the pipe and the curly pirate mustache, put it side by side, you'd be like, look at that, they got the same mustache.
All right, hey, hold on, keep your glasses on. I got another clip for you. This is
All right, here you go.
It's two more clips. This is you on All My Children. This is you with a leading lady, someone you worked with.
A leading lady
who you worked with. You she went on. She stayed on the show, but this is you and her right here.
Abigail Spencer, Kelly Ripa. Who am I with? Ooh, that looked like a buttock. Oh no! Oh, I remember that scene. Greenway. Oh, my first sex scene on TV. Oh, it was so bad. Oh, I can't watch it. I'm taking the glasses off.
Oh. That was Rebecca Budd and Greenlee.
Yeah, I remember the day.
I couldn't find any. I was trying to find a clip of you and Scott. I mean,
they don't teach you how to do sex scenes in acting school. That's something you learn by doing it wrong.
Mm-hmm. I was trying to find. I accidentally called Scott. You play Scott. I was trying to find a scene with you and David Canary, but I could not find one. And the only scene I could find was you at. They did a storyline when they killed off Stewart, and it was like a big funeral or something like that.
Oh yeah, I remember that scene. I was hoping you bring that up. I can't remember too many scenes with David.
Right.
We worked a lot together because it was in a lot of conflict. It was kind of, I mean, it was almost like it was like a spaghetti western. It was kind of like cowboy scenes that they wrote for David Canary and I. But we did have this one amazing scene where I'm talking to Adam in the church, right? Stewart's died and I'm blaming Adam.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, David said that was why I got fired. He said he gave me a compliment. He said you were too good, you were too evil, you were too mad, and that's why you got fired.
Right.
That was where I told you he gave me a compliment at the end, and I felt real good. That was the compliment. Because I was too good, and that's why I got fired. I don't think that's true, but I'll take that. Over for David Canary, I'll take it. Thank you, sir. That made me feel pretty good about the whole thing.
See, now the last clip I got for you is this is before you joined Soaps. You did a show called Northwood.
Yeah.
I got a clip of you, right? I don't know if you do any talking on here, but you're in the
You're talking, but they can see you.
All right, here we go.
Great. What about clothes? Salvation Army's getting some stuff together. We just gotta pick it up.
I can run by the truck after school. Why don't we start up some sort of collection?
Oh, there's me. Look, I talked.
So Kirk finds out here. I don't feel like some sort of charity case.
So let's not tell him. Let's just see what we can collect on the sly and then hand it to him in one big chunk. Yeah, like a big surprise. It's a good idea.
You guys are thinking way too small.
He's the only one I know because he was that guy pointed out. He was the only one.
Lot, right?
Huh?
He's done a lot of stuff. I think he does a lot of stuff with HBO or something, doesn't he? He works a lot.
Yeah, the one standing by the tree. He the only one on that show I know because he did one of the Ernest movies. Ernest Goes to School.
All right.
Yeah, but yeah,
a lot of the other actors in that show went on to produce. They did really well. Like they were like the 90210 kids in Canada, right?
Yeah.
But that show ran for about 10 years, I think. And at the end of it, they were pretty set up, and I think most of them went on to be producers. Last I heard, most of them were producing now in Vancouver. Um, that was another one. I think it was my second audition I ever went on.
Mhm.
It was funny. I was selling watches door to door. This is in like my wiki page. I was selling $10 fake Rolexes door to door. And I walked into this modeling agency to sell a watch, and the agent is like, you're too short to be a model, but you can act. And I'm like, I don't know. I kind of like selling watches. But then the rainy season hit. Vancouver's like Seattle. And the rainy season hit. It rains every day for 3 months. And I'm going through my little, stack of cards, and I come across the card from the modeling agency. And I called her back, Carmela Evangelista. And it's about that acting job. I'll take you up on that. She said, okay, come in and talk to us. I thought I was going for a job interview. I had no idea what acting was like. I thought she was offering me a job acting. I had no idea. I didn't even know what that meant. I just knew that I'd get paid to do something other than walking around door to door in the rain. And so she explained the whole deal. She was an agent, and I got to go audition, and she explained what that meant. And I said, all right. And she said, we'll sign you up for a course. Our agency has courses. We'll put you in a course. We'll give you a scholarship for the course, and we'll see how it goes. All right, fine. So they set me up for this audition 2 days later for a commercial, and I booked it.
Right.
But it was like a commercial. A commercial, you walk in, it's like a mugshot. You look forward, you look sideways, you jump up in the air and laugh, and you get the job or you don't. But like a week later, I got an audition for Northwood, and I think I'd been to one acting class. I knew nothing about it at all. I got this audition. They said, come down and get the script. I didn't know what the script was. I went down. They handed me the script and my sides, the part of the script that I'd have to perform for the casting director at the audition. They're all words that were so foreign to me, man. I was from Halifax, Nova Scotia. I was a high school jock from Halifax, Nova Scotia, like the kid in Glee. Like totally out of. It's the right thing for me to do to join this club, so I'm doing it. I was just a fish out of water. So I went to Barnes & Noble's, and I asked the Barnes & Noble's guy to get me some how-to books on acting. I'm like, I got this audition for this TV show, and I got to figure it out. I don't know what to do. So he laughed. He took me into the acting section. He pulls out 3 books. I still got them over here on my shelf over there. 3 books I got. And he gave me the 3 classic books. One from the 3 classic books that explain and define American acting.
Right.
I read them, and I went to the audition. I did what the book said. Literally, like one of them was like the 12 guideposts. So they've got like these 12 questions you have to ask yourself, and then you do that. Right. Like, that's pretty easy. I can do that. One of them is you never a scene never begins. A scene is simply a moment in time that follows a moment in time and leads into a moment in time. And you need to know where you're coming from and where you're going to in order to get this into life. Like, all right, yeah, well, in this scene, I'm coming into the room. So I must be coming from somewhere. So they say, are you ready? I said, yep. I stood up and left the room. Right? And left the room. And I hear them laughing. Like, whenever you're ready, sir. And all right. So I open the door and come in and start acting, and they burst out laughing. I had no idea what was so funny. I'm just doing what this book told me to do. Right. I'm supposed to be coming into the room. So, okay. I'll leave the room and I'll come in and they'll start talking.
Right.
I got the job. My first audition for a speaking role, and I'm like the soap opera. I'm a regular talking actor on a television show. Walking around town telling people I'm an actor when a week ago I'm selling watches door to door. I'd never been to an acting class. I didn't know who Clanton Meisner was, didn't know who Lou Strasberg was, didn't know what Hitting My Mark was, didn't know anything. And I'm like living life top of the hog in Vancouver in 1991 as an actor. It's pretty cool. I'm grateful for that opportunity. I'm also very grateful that you had to work really hard to find it. Because if All My Children was something that I'm not particularly proud of, One Life, whatever that one was, Northwood, as an actor, Northwood was where I cut my teeth, ready to cut my teeth on all my children. Acting takes a long time to learn. It's tricky. It's tricky.
Yeah.
And actors who learn on TV, they deserve. I don't, but they deserve some special credit. It's a trial by fire.
And you know, it's interesting because I've a friend of mine who, because he knows I've been watching soaps for a long time, since like 2000 when I was back in third grade for many years. He asked me about if I wanted to do a stunt on soaps, and I said, well, because I only did like one theater play back when I was in school, and it wasn't
Right.
even a theater; it was like a little play back
Yeah.
in third grade.
You're
And
ahead of me.
I
My idea of amazing acting was Jean-Claude Van Damme and Lionheart. That was.
Yeah. It's I just could not. I could not pronounce certain words that I had in my line, so I struggled with it. And when my turn came to do it, I froze, and everybody was watching me. That's the thing. But my friends helped me get through that, and then I was like, well, on soap operas, you got all this dialogue. Like, how do you memorize? How do you memorize all that in your brain? And you got one or two takes to do it. It's just I don't know. I don't know if I could do that. That's a challenge.
Well, that's part of it. I mean, when I started, I froze.
Right.
That's part of the torture. Luckily, on camera, they cut your freezing. You know, they just put up with you, and they'll just do take after take after take. I mean, I remember in Northwood, I had no idea what was going on. When they put the camera on the other kids, they'd like shoot it twice and move on. Got it, moving on. They stick the camera on me, like they're doing 35 takes. I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, must be something wrong with the camera. I didn't know it was something wrong with me. The joy of television is that they can stick the scissors in there and cut out that. Can you hear my little? Yeah, she likes your daddy. She ticked off, and I'm locking myself in here.
So before we
Anyway,
watch,
answers you free, and you do it often enough, you stop freezing.
right?
That's all there is to it. It just stops.
I got you. Well, luckily I've done some short films when I was in college, and when I got to a point where I put my own self in my projects, I didn't freeze, and I was able to overcome it. So I've managed with it. So before I let you go, I got 5 more questions for you. My first question is, do you remember anything about your time on As the World Turns as Mason?
Yes. Would you like to know?
Yeah.
What do I remember about my time on As the World Turns as Mason? I remember how scared I was.
Mm-hmm.
That's mostly what I remember. And it was weird because I was coming off of One Life to Live, where I really kind of like felt like I was the bomb, and I felt confident, and I was dancing and having a good time. And I went on that show, and I felt frozen. And it really made me appreciate how cool and awesome my cast and crew were on All My Children. On One Life to Live. On One Life to Live and On My Children had awesome cast. ABC had awesome cast. Probably still do. Cool culture to work with.
Okay. My second question is, and this is a question I've asked everybody, and you're gonna get it too. What kind of music do you like?
Ooh, changes a lot. And I seem to like spiral. Right now, I'm going through this Yo-Yo Ma period. So uncool. But totally, I remember like my parents being totally mystified by Yo. You even know who Yo-Yo Ma is? No, you don't. I can see you looking at you like, Yo-Yo who? Yo-Yo what? Yo-Yo my mother. Yo-Yo Ma is this cellist. And he plays the cello really amazingly. And he was super popular in like the 70s and 80s. And I rediscovered him. Other times when I'm heading back home, I listen to a lot of classic rock because it reminds me of my high school, a lot of Led Zeppelin. Brings me back memories of friends who are no longer with me. I listen to a lot of jazz. My kids keep trying to get me into pop music, and I resist, and I will continue to resist until the day I die. I keep singing a lot of Disney tunes at the moment, which
Cool.
my 18-month-old baby watching. What's the one with the little girl who has to save the volcano in Hawaii? That's on repeat right now.
Okay.
And
See,
that's kind of stuck in my head.
See, I'm more familiar with the older Disney films. The one that's out recently, I couldn't begin to tell you. I've never seen Tangled or Frozen. I couldn't begin to tell you that one.
We're not at the Frozen stage yet, thank God.
Yeah.
And we skipped the Barney. I don't know. I listen to a lot of different kinds of music. I listen to a lot of different kinds of music. I'm not as into music as a lot of people. Music was actually my first career choice. When I was younger, I started playing the piano before I could touch the pedals. My granddad was a pianist and a music teacher. My mother was a music teacher. My father plays the piano in the public park in my hometown every day, every afternoon. It's a very musical family. I played the piano, the French horn, the violin, the guitar, the bass guitar. I studied theory, history, composition, and in high school I sang in 3 choirs. And one day I realized, like, everybody around me seems to have this emotional reaction to music. And music, they call it resonance. The music resonates with them. I realized that music just didn't resonate with me. I like music. I listen to the radio when I'm driving. A bar is pretty lame if it doesn't have music. I like to listen to music when I'm studying, but it's not a passion with me. It didn't resonate. It didn't hit me in a way.
Right.
I was fortunate that I discovered that acting did resonate with me. Acting was something that I really enjoyed. The way my brother, who's a musician, seems to get almost a physical reaction, physical pleasure from music. I get that kind of a reaction from films and from working in films. I like watching films and I like working on films. I don't like this. It's all right.
Hey, NSYNC or Backstreet Boys?
Ah! Shotgun.
Because I would go older and say Hall and Notes.
Just as Marky Marcus turned out to be such a cool dude. Which was he in? Was he in the back? Or it was Marky Mark in the Cabbage Patch Kid. What were they? Marky Mark, the Fresh Bunch, Marky Mark.
I think it was Backstreet. I think so. Yeah.
No, come on, it was Marky Mark. It was Marky Mark we all called them the Cabbage Patch Kids. It was something funny.
I gotta look that up. I was gonna go a little older and say Michael McDonald or Hall and Oates, but I don't know if he was into all that.
That was the 80s, right? Hall and Oates. Yeah. Hall and
Oates. My third question to you, well, this is actually a fan question.
All right, come
on. What is your favorite favorite moments on being on One Life to Live?
As a character, as an actor, I got a lot of both. I had a lot of good times with that. Now, it's perfectly possible. It's kind of like Cub Camp. When you're there, you hate it and you want to go home. But the further it falls into the past, the more you miss it. But I have a lot of happy memories of working on One Life to Live, both as an actor and as an individual. As an actor, I think my favorite moment was I think I've been on the show for about 3-4 months, and Nash had this big, huge soliloquy about he's telling this Greek story. It's a story from Iliad. Omniopatia. I forget the story, but he's telling this story to Tess, and there's all these analogies, her and Nash to this story, and it was one of these days because of the way they shot that. They had Tess and Nash really separated from the rest of the story. We were literally geographically gone. So they would shoot an entire week's worth of episodes in one afternoon with us. So where normally you got to learn 16 pages per day in a soap, we had an entire day of just us. So we had like 50, 60 pages of just us talking. And this huge soliloquy, it's like a 3-4 page speech at the end of 6-7 hours of shooting. And I got to it, and my brain just went, just like gone. And the producer's directing, which is even worse. I was really afraid. I went up to Frank. Now, best producer I've ever worked with. Really respect him. And like, dude, I'm sorry, I'm cooked. Like, I can't remember this. It's gone. I'm looking at it. I've studied it. I knew it when I came in here this morning, but I'm cooked. I don't know this. I just can't do it. And he said, well, you know the story? I said, yeah. You know the camera's on, you talk, and when the camera goes on to her, let her say something. I said, all right. And I did that, and it was so much fun. I think I actually said pretty much what was on the script, like once I had that weight taken off of me. But it was this really great speech. It was really well written. That was a lot of fun to perform. But I had the opportunity to work with someone who kind of set me free as an actor, to not just be a talking head, not just be interpreted, but actually be part of the process, to throw my own bit in there. I had a crew who could, were flexible, were skilled enough that if I didn't do what I was supposed to do, they could point the cameras on the fly. Like everybody's kind of improvising at the same time. It was like jazz. We're all just making it up as we go along. Mm-hmm. And Bree was really great, just reacted. And it ended up, I was afraid it was going to be a disaster. It ended up being a lot of fun. And I was really proud of the outcome. That was probably my most proud moment acting and most fun moment as an actor. I think that was my favorite memory. Was that time, that day on set. It was awesome. The other one was the time when, at the very beginning, everybody remembers the pool scene with Nash, where he's like, I don't know what happened in the first episode. Like, just that Tess have this thing, and then Nash goes somewhere to some like super estate to try and hustle some money, and Tess follows him. I don't know. There's a swimming pool. My favorite moment personally was it's full of all these extras in bathing suits. And I thought I was being cool and whatever. And I jump off the diving board between shots, do this horrendous belly flop in the pool to make everybody laugh. And I get off and do this comedic strut, like I just pulled like this amazing swan dive. Like I'm just doing comedy, just trying to make everybody laugh. And I'm walking towards this group of girls in bikinis, and they all look at me and go, and I look down, and my shorts are completely ripped in half. And I am.
Wow. And you had just started on the show too. Wow. Yeah. Did you get some phone numbers after that?
No.
Wow. Speaking of which, because I loved you and Bree had such incredible chemistry with her playing Tess / Jessica, and y'all working together. Like I said, I was her and Antonio, but I've ended up being a fan of Nash's, and y'all ended up getting paired at the end. Speaking of which, this is something I think you'll get a kick out of. This is your first day on One Life to Live.
No. Glasses back up. There it is, the pineapple top. I was waiting for the steel drums in the background.
Exciting.
My Miami Vice moment.
That was your first day.
Oh, what an entrance. That was great. Miami Vice, man.
Right. Can you tell anything about one real quick? One fan, Mr. Naylor, who is a big fan of my channel, he wanted you to give him a shout out. He loved your work on One Life to Live.
What's his name, Mr. Naylor?
Yeah, Mr. Naylor. Yes, he wanted you to give him a shout out.
What an awesome name, Mr. Naylor. Thanks so much for remembering me. It means a lot to me. Hope you're well. Stay tough through this time.
Can you mention anything about your current work as a logger? Like, to anybody who wants to know about it.
Sure. After One Life, I thought it would be fun to produce. Producing was an interesting experience, but quickly led into working for a hedge fund. Working in a hedge fund was a lot of fun, but all of the guys I was working with had their own what we call bricks and mortar businesses. And they all had these experiences and anecdotes that gave them an understanding of business that I lacked. I'd worked on a soap opera and somehow found myself working with the inventor of the cell phones and the guy who built out AT&T and the guy who ran, the foreign exchange for Goldman Sachs and Forbes March of One Life to Live. It was weird. So I thought if I was going to do this, I should go start my own business. And I started this specialty firewood business about 12 years ago. I thought another guy was going to run it, but he pulled out. So I figured I'd run it myself for 6 months until I found someone else to run it. And now I've been doing it for, I don't know, it's about 11 or 12 years we've been doing it now. We produce this firewood, but it's very special. We have this process that dries it perfectly in these huge industrial ovens. We sort it all out by species and split diameter, and we ship it down to restaurants in the city where it's used mostly for cooking. And then we have some very high-end clientele who burn it in their living rooms. But it's really for restaurants and cooking. And I've been doing that for about 12 years. It's about as far from acting as I could possibly get. It has been a very interesting experience. I have in my life had the opportunity to experience the rare air of being an on-television personality, the rare air of being a finance person, and the rare air of owning an operational, very tough manufacturing business with employees. It's been a very diverse experience. I'm appreciative of the experience. It hasn't been easy.
Right.
This has been the hardest thing in my life. But it's been a valuable experience in terms of my development and path as a person. That's what I do now.
So earlier when you were saying you had just came from outside with the firewood to come in, make yourself look good for this interview. What you really were trying to say was you was outside modeling with the firewood. And
that's what I was doing. I was having a picture taken with a bunch of logs behind me, pretending, an axe on my shoulder, looking all tough, and looking at the horizon like there's important things over there that must be done. Striking a pose, voguing on the top of a woodpile.
So I take it since you're in New York, you're a Giants fan or a Jets fan when it comes to football?
I suck. I'm neither. I played football in college, and I think I've watched like 2 games since. I took my son to a Giants game last year. One of my employees had season tickets, and he gave the boss his ticket one day. We went to a Giants game. But I know I don't listen to popular music. I don't watch sports. I suck.
Hey, listen, it's cool. I'm not all into today's world person. I mean, I am, but like as far as music goes, I'm an old guy. I listen to
time. I just don't get it. In order for you to be like a Jets fan or a Giants fan, you got to watch enough of both to make a decision. A football game is like 15 hours long. It's crazy. Guys start like Sunday 10 a.m. All the guys get together and start watching the pregame, the pre-pregame, the pre-pregame, the like what happened this time last year, the history of the whole thing. I love this thing they do in football now where they make it look like a historical documentary, like with black and white cuts and old music, and they cut it just like it's an old-fashioned film, but it actually happened last week. Like it's like you're watching the Second World War documentary, but you're actually watching last week's game. I love that. But I don't have the time. I'm sorry. I work probably less now, but for the first 8 years of running this business, I did 80-hour weeks. I went from 8 hours a week for stupid Hollywood money to working 80 hours a week for a working schmuck money. People think I'm nuts, and I've come to the conclusion that they're right.
Well, no. I mean, you're doing what you love doing, so no, it wouldn't be nuts. What would have been nuts is if you still had Hollywood money along with what you're doing and you blew it all and was broke. That'd be a little nuts. But no, you still doing your thing.
I blew it all. It's all out there. I got kick-ass equipment. It's all out there.
is there anything we can expect from you? Like anything you doing throughout the rest of the year going into 2021? I mean, I know you got your business and you're in school right now, but is there anything else you're gonna be working on later in the year going into 2021?
That's that. Sorry, no. I'm open, but
Right.
no. I haven't had anything to. I did a couple of like student films a few years ago.
Right.
But this is the first contact I've had with soap operas other than Facebook with Brie Williamson on a regular basis in about 8 years.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that. Are you still in touch with anybody from One Life Today or All My Children?
Lots of them. I have an issue with a dog having bit one of my children, and that's Child Protective Services are involved. One of my ex co-stars on One Life to Live is now a very highly trained and respected dog trainer, and I'm still in contact with her, and she's recently stepped up. Brie Williamson, I'm in contact with regularly. Oh jeez, can't believe I'm brain farting. There's another friend of Bree's and mine from that period. I can see her face right now.
Who's she?
Some people from One Life to Live I'm in touch with, and actually Vicky, Erica Slazak, and I have contact.
Yeah,
it's very surprising. We're very, very different people.
Yeah, she was a pioneer on that show too, Erica Slazak, because she'd been on there for a long time. Yeah,
and our relationship started off kind of rocky.
Mm-hmm.
It's my understanding that she didn't think highly of me at the beginning. My general demeanor on set was not consistent with her idea of professionalism, per se. You're probably right. But towards the end of it, we actually became really good friends, and we stayed in touch. She's a wonderful lady, and I love her and respect her.
Right. Well, Forbes,
had my ass fired. Something about her sofa. I was doing a scene in her living room, in whatever her character's name's living room was, and while we're like practicing the scene, I thought, I don't know, I just jump up and down on her sofa while doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't like that. She kind of considered the sofa on set to be a sofa. Yeah, I think when you're on a show for a long time, the lines between your character and yourself get kind of muddled. And she was really upset at me jumping up and down on her sofa. Upset enough that she wanted to have me fired.
Well, thank God that didn't happen. Thank God that didn't happen.
She's great. She's cool beans.
Yeah, you all work so well together. I loved your scenes too with Jerry Verdun. You used to call him Mr. Buchanan, Mr. Clinton.
Yeah, Jerry was actually my roommate. They didn't have enough dressing rooms, so they stuck Jerry and I in the same dressing room. They called us the odd couple on set. There's Jerry Verdun, Mr. Dignified, and Forbes March is like a real life version of the Joker in a room together for sometimes 14 hours sitting in front of each other, staring at each other. He was wonderful. He was a father figure to me for a long time. He helped me through some challenging times and some good times. He's a wonderful man, and a lot of fun to work with. Real pro. The way David Canary was for me, he seemed to speak of his time. I guess he did some work on MASH, and he said that MASH was a wonderful place to work because everybody turned up, had a great time working, and at the end of the day, they all went home. That's how he described it. And that was his attitude to work. He came in the morning, and he wanted to have a good time working. He didn't want any drama. He didn't want any bullshit. He just wanted to turn up, do some good acting, and then go home for dinner with his wife. And that posed a contrast to a lot of the drama that goes on behind the scenes in the soap opera. I was very blessed to have him in the same dressing room as me. He did a good job of keeping my wound up head attached to my shoulder.
Well, Forbes, I really had a blast talking with you again today. It's been fun. I'm actually in the process of reaching out to Bree for an interview, and I did talk to You didn't work with him a lot, but he played RJ on the show, Timothy Stickney.
Yeah, he's a really cool dude. He's a
Yeah,
really interesting guy.
yeah, he's another one I've talked to about doing an interview with. So I'm, looking forward to that. And you know, what can I say, man? Both times we've talking with you has been a blast, and you made help make my birthday complete, even though it's on Friday.
Thank you, Matt. Real pleasure. I've enjoyed this, and I enjoyed the last one. Happy birthday! I hope you have a really great birthday, man. You
I
deserve it.
appreciate it. Are you more Scott or are you more Nash?
Nash.
I can tell.
That ain't that. That ain't that at all. I think I just miscast Scott. I was trying hard, but I'm an Nash.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, Forbes, thank you. I was really going to say Nash, thank you. Forbes, thank you for taking the time to do this. You enjoy the rest of the rest of the year. Hopefully, things turn out better. 'Cause I know with COVID is, it's a lot going on right now, but
We're all in it
yeah.
together.
But you enjoy the rest of your year and your time. And I know we talked a lot today, but maybe down the road I can have you come back and we'll do another interview.
Anytime, man. It's absolutely been my pleasure. Stay safe.
Thank you. You too, man. Goodbye. Well, guys, thank you for tuning in to PE Slick Podcast. It's your host, Ranger Matt. I had a blast talking with Forbes. More to come. Hopefully, I have an interview next Monday. I hope anybody from Guy Light is listening to this. I have an interview next Monday, live, 101, with Beth Chamberlain. She played Beth Rings on Guy Light from 1989 till 91. Came back in 97 until the show ended. Beth Chamberlain is going to join me live next Monday at 12 p.m. So stick around for it. Come for it. It's going to be a lot of fun. And for those of you out there, be safe. And like I say on all my podcasts, until next time, you have a good night now. Goodbye.